Hello everyone, and be welcome from the last game of this competition. But this is the game that everyone wants to stay there. This is the final match of pairs BC3. At this moment, in the other court, we are watching the finals of pairs BC4 and teams BC1 BC2, and at the same time the games of third, fourth place. So here in this game we will have France against Hong Kong, and we are waiting here for a great game. Great players with good abilities here, and for sure we will pass the next time together seeing great moments of this game. All longer the competition, Hong Kong won both games of the first group against Poland and Czech Republic, and they passed to the playoffs, playing against South Korea, winning in the tiebreak, and in the semi-finals won Great Britain. In the other side, France that have won both games against South Korea and Spain. Being first in the Group A, they have a bye in the playoffs, and after that won 4-2 against Portugal, and they are here in the final. Playing with France, with Sonia Heckel and Jules Menard. Jules Menard making here the first appearance in BC3 class, and making a new pair here in a composition, replacing Samir van der Becken. We are during the competition seeing France playing very well. Sonia Heckel made a real perfect competition, individual competition. He won the gold medal, winning against the KO 3-2, and that's for sure the great achievement for her, showing that she is growing and growing after making the second place in the Rio de Janeiro. Jules Menard come here to make the appearance only in the pairs competition. We are watching a great level of this player, and especially for long playing, they are doing the position of the jacks very long, and Jules Menard has been being in a great level. So looking here to the game, is being usual to see great first balls for sure. And after that, an open by Jules Menard and the placement of Sonia Eckel. And after that, Hong Kong is trying to put the balls, trying to change the situation of the score. Here in the BC3s, the way of play is quite different than the others. Of the throwers, the game is much more tactics, and sometimes they use some solutions using 2 or 3 balls in a row instead of going through the jack directly. From Hong Kong, he's playing now Keiho. She was the second placed in the individual during this competition, losing against Sonia Heckel. So they are defeating again in the final in this competition, showing that they are in very good shape at this moment. Takwate is preparing this way of play. He will try probably push on that red ball to the game. Or try to remove the blue ball there. And with that, having the control of the front of the game, he pushed the red ball to the jack. However, the ball beat in the jack and come back again a little, and enough to maintain the score 1-0 to red at this moment. And as you can see now, changed everything, the position in the box of the ramp, and now probably we'll try to remove that blue ball. But we will see. Sometimes we are surprised from the decision of these players, and the beauty of the game is right that different solutions for the same situation, and this is like a chess game. And there are no the right answers. There are only approaches of the game, and with that they are construing the situations. So, and we saw again that thing. Takze place one ball, another ball, trying to defending and trying to turning the life of the French players difficult. And after that was Keiho who removed the blue ball, and the option of the Hong Kong was first of all defend the opportunities to change the French to have that ball. However, they prefer to defend first, and after that remove the blue. And this option was because Keiho only have a hard ball and could be difficult for her to make a placement with that ball. And that knowledge of who have the balls and the type of balls have a lot of influence in the decision. So now it's time to France. It's time to try to open the game situations in order to change the score. The Hong Kong don't have any balls to play, and France have 3 balls left, and they will for sure try to open all situations, even if they have to spend more than 1 ball. But we will see soon what's the choice of France. Now Sonia Ekel plays 1 ball and showing that they don't need to open more because they have the opportunity there. Very well. They don't need to try to open more gap. And now the referee says that 1-0 to France. Well played there. And Jules Ménard have 2 balls to try to do another point at least. Could be difficult here because the line don't seems to be very easy. However, you can try to place 1 ball and after that push that ball to the target point. But like you are saying, during these days the lines are very different seeing from here, and we will see what's the option of this young player of France. Yes, quite difficult there to enter in the game from that position. We are always seeing that Sonia is giving some feedbacks to Jules Ménard, trying to help him to having the best decision here. And this is the last ball of France. The ball don't go there. A little touch in the red ball, but not change the situation. And it's 1-0 to France, starting very well here the game. Keiho and Sonia Ekel goes there, trying to see by their eyes the score, but the referee said 1-0. She asked for the measure. No doubts about that. 1-0 to France. Good start here from France. And in the game of pairs BC3, Great Britain is winning 1-0 against Portugal in the bronze medal game. In teams, Thailand won 4-0 against Hong Kong. Brazil is losing 1-0 against Great Britain in the gold medal of teams BC1, BC2. In the final of pairs BC4, Slovakia is winning Thailand 4-0. And in court number 8, the bronze medal, Canada is winning Portugal 2-0. So we come here to the game, and now I have with me Hugh Pelser, sorry.
Hello.
And he is here to help us to talk a little about the game, and he comes here as member of the competition committee of World Bossia, trying to help us to understand this new system and giving us some thoughts about that. So Joop, welcome here.
Thank you.
And we are watching a great level here in the BC3 finals. What are the expectations for the game?
It's a good question. Well, I think in general, like the BC3 field is so well developed that we see that most games are pretty tight in individuals as well as in the pairs. We've seen France getting some good result over the last few years in the pairs. Not so much in individuals, I think, but in pairs they seem to be always strong.
Sonia is making
this time
good progress.
Yes.
It's made second in Rio and first here, so
yes,
she's growing well.
And I think Hong Kong in BC3 is one of the growing, emerging nations. So I expect it to be a good game.
Okay, so we come here to the game. Here a long placement of the jack ball. I cannot see, around 9 meters maybe.
Yeah, it's at 9 meters, pretty close to the sideline.
So always this first ball is important in every classes.
Yeah, it's a nice first ball. Nicely ahead of the jack. Some gap between it, but I think it's blocking most of the lines.
Yes, and sometimes even in the game against Portugal, they do the same situation, putting the ball a little, not touching the jack, with some space, and in the attacks of the opponents, the ball, at least in the fourth end against Portugal, go to the jack, and after that create a difficult. Here the important is trying to close the lines, and the ball is there.
Yeah, and we see here from the shot that nobody really has a clear line to the jack, so they're probably gonna try to push it away. And there he goes. Yeah, nice shot. It's also possible to play it to the side of the jack, but then you know the blue will always be able to push their ball and control the space in front of the jack. So I think this is a very good solution to just get rid of it if you can.
Ok, Bárbara Lima, vamos Brasil, André Zabora neste momento a perder 1-0 a equipa do Brasil contra a Grã-Bretanha na final. Laurinda, e na final da BC4, os pais BC4, está a jogar Tailândia contra a Eslováquia e neste momento 4-0 para a seleção eslovaca. Coming back and looking here to the finals, Joop, big surprise that we don't have Thailand in the team's final. A great game between Brazil and Thailand, a very tight game, and Brazil won in the last ball of Maciel. and Great Britain here showing a great result too. That we are not usual to see Great Britain in the finals of these competitions in the last years, and now they come again.
Yes, yeah. Well, I think we've seen that Thailand has been very dominant over the last few years in the teams competition. There has been a change in the competition system and the playing system, where we before had female athletes mandatory as part of the team, and then that they needed to be on court for at least one end. We now have truly mixed competition, male and female athletes, and we see that some teams who used to play with 3 male or 3 female athletes need to adapt now. And I think Thailand is a nice example of that. They always play with 3 male athletes and had a female athlete for one end, and now they implemented a female athlete, which is apparently a very good athlete since she won gold in the individual BC1 competition. But I think it may affect slightly affect their team, because they had Hood Pradeep, which obviously is one of the best BC1s in the world. So it may be that they're a little bit less dominant than they have been in the past, and I think Great Britain has been growing their team with these 3 athletes for the past quadrennial, already showing some good results, and I think their level of play has been always very high, and for me it's not a very surprising result to see them here in the final, but it's good for them.
Okay, and Brazil too, with some new players. Yuri is the first competition that he made here. We talked about with some persons with Brazil. They are trying to make the renovation of the team, but getting the final is always a great result and showing that they are working in the right direction.
Yeah, it's very good. And in their first pool game against Hong Kong, I think they didn't play so well. Hong Kong beat them pretty easily. So from what I saw there, our expectation was not too high, but they really improved their game throughout the competition. And definitely beating Thailand is great, and to see them in the final, it's nice.
And you are talking that nowadays with these new competitions can be a challenge for the coaches to make the choices. And look, we are talking with Brazil, but they have José Carlos from BC1, and they have a very competent woman in BC2 too. So they are trying to do some things, but even in the pairs that you have to use one male and one female, that the countries have to work hard to try to get that good combination of.
Yes, I think there has been a development towards really mixed sports, and you see that some countries already prepared for that and worked on that to mostly develop their female athletes, and were already before this rule change playing with female athletes on court as well. So I think for them it's an advantage that they already got a bit ahead of the rules, and for others it's really time to adapt now. And that's probably why we'll see some changes in the relative strength of the different teams and pairs, since they may need to play in different lineups than they used to do. So I think it's a very interesting time in that, especially since we lost a year in this quadrennial due to the COVID situation. It's a very short cycle towards the next games. So I think everybody is adapting fast.
And you saw that the level of females is growing. I don't have the numbers, but perhaps you know that better than me, that the numbers of the inscriptions of women have been growing for the competitions. Do you have that idea, or what's the general idea about that?
Well, I don't have those numbers here. Definitely the number of female athletes in competitions has grown since we have mandatory mixed competition. So if you don't register female athletes, you're gonna participate in team and pairs competition. So it's really getting into a mixed sport, and I'm happily surprised with the level of play that we've seen in the female events, and not even really surprised, but there has been a lot of discussion within BISFED, World Boccia, within the General Assembly, between members, whether this was a good step to take or not. For me, we've seen great competition in both male and female events, so I think overall we should be very happy with the steps that we have taken as a sport.
And another difference in this new cycle is that the present teams don't have substitute. Do you think that the presence of one player out can have some influence, or can decide, or can help one team?
Yeah, this was a difficult subject. Because of course having a substitute creates some certainty that maybe if you have an injury or somebody is sick, you can still keep playing. In the current COVID situation, it may be even more relevant to have substitutes. But on the other hand, we saw a lot of times that substitution athletes were the whole competition basically watching the games and not playing. Because a lot of teams and pairs had their basic lineup and didn't really change a lot until the game was already won or lost. And a lot of times even those substitution athletes were then not competing in individuals because they were not selected for that. So there were a lot of competition slots that were basically not used to compete. So with this change, what we've created is that there are more slots available for individual athletes to compete, that there are more team and pair slots available in competitions, and especially in the Paralympic Games, we went from 10 to 12 slots in all the team and pair classes. So this gives more countries the opportunity to play, but it also comes with the risk that you may not be able to play because of an injury or something that prevents your team or pair to play. What we saw from the statistics from the last years was that it rarely happened that athletes dropped out because of injury or sickness, so that it was a risk that we thought was worth taking because of all the benefits that are there for other athletes to be at the competition.
And do you think that that can make some changes in the rules? If one player gets sick during the competition, be changed by another that playing in individuals, or that situation don't make sense because it's not fair for all.
That's another difficult argument that we've had within the competition committee and World Boccia, and in one way, yes, it's not equal. Some people may have an athlete that they can bring into their team or pair, and others may not. On the other hand, we see that there are some countries that have more than one high-level athlete in a certain class, and I think it's also fair towards those athletes that they are selected based on their actual performance and form, and that a country doesn't need to decide who of those world-class athletes is going to play like 3 months in advance of a competition. So what we've tried is to use the available slots as much as possible for athletes to play rather than to watch the games, and at the same time create a little bit of flexibility for those countries who have more high-level athletes that could play in their team or pair to choose who they want to play.
And do you think that during the competition you can pick one team for one game and choose other player for other game, or like in the other sports you can choose the players?
That basically in other sport that just happens if you have actually substitutions. And I think tennis is probably the best comparison. You have singles, male and female, and there are doubles, and you have mixed doubles. And I think the mixed doubles in tennis is like the mixed team and pair that we have in boccia. And that is a double that plays. And if one of them gets injured or is not in a great shape, that's unlucky. But you need to finish with who you started with. Okay. And I think that's the right way to go, to not give too much of an advantage to those countries that have more athletes present in a competition. Because unlike other sports, I think in boccia it's not easy to just fly in a new athlete if you had an injury. So everybody needs to work with what is present. So I think we have the right balance in this, but it's something new. So I would also like to encourage everybody who has an experience or an opinion on this to share that with World Boccia or the competition committee, so that we can keep developing things.
Okay, this is a good tip for all of you that are watching us, to send some feedback if you think that have something to say, or the opinion of everyone is important. And so here, coming to the game, 1 to Hong Kong, 1 point to Hong Kong. France trying to put the ball long, and the Hong Kong can change the game situation. And during the game, French only changed the situation in the last ball, and with some balls left, Hong Kong was able to change again and score the point. At this moment, 1-1, everything come back to the beginning, now with only 2 hands to play. And in the other courts, we'll have Portugal making 1 point against Great Britain in Paris BC3. Thailand winning 8-0 against Hong Kong in teams. Brazil lost another point now against Great Britain, and at this moment 2-0 to Great Britain. In court number 6, Thailand may score 2 points, and at this moment it's 4 to Slovakia, 2 from Thailand in Paris BC4. And Portugal scored 2 points in the third hand, making at this moment 5 Canada, 2 for Portugal. So we come back here. Great ball here from Kei-Ho from Hong Kong, the first ball, and for sure the Jules Menard will try to open this situation. We have been seeing that these BC3 players have really hard balls, and can easily open the game situations even if they don't use the old ramp. The balls are really hard. Ayup, what do you think about the development of the material in Boccia? Is going in the right direction? World Boccia made now the only to see that ball. He opens the situation. I'm saying that the World Boccia made now some rules for the balls, but the development of the material of sports is growing and growing. What do you think about that whole situation, the development of the balls and the cramps and the other things?
Yeah, well, I think the balls have always been, at least as long as I've been involved in the sport, a big topic of discussion. We had for quite a long time a very wide definition of what it was a ball, and not many tests that really distinguish between different types of ball, which resulted in at some point to like a race to who has the softest ball that still passes the test. But doesn't really move on court. Nice shot. And I think it's good that Will Boccia has tried to do something about it, because at some point, basically, the game was not moving anymore. Balls were so soft and sticky that whoever got to the jack, it was almost impossible to move the ball. Even if you would throw your hardest ball as fast as you can, it was just millimeters of movement. And I think as a spectator sport, at some point it doesn't make sense anymore if people don't understand why balls are not moving. After all, there are balls. And there have been struggles, like at some point with the drop test that did something, but then people found a way to get around it and still have very, very soft balls in play. And I think the roll test already created a slightly more level playing field where the very, very soft balls got out of the game. Now we have the license balls, which is still in the introduction phase. This year they are mandatory in the major competitions, and then from next year in all the competitions. And I think we see that everybody is adapting to that and still looking a bit which balls suit their needs best. Will Boccia has been working hard to create more specific rules for what is and what is not a ball, what you can do to a ball, how you can work a ball in a way that it fits your needs in the best way, without tempering the ball in such a way that you gain an unfair advantage. I think the procedures around the call room have provided more clarity. All the balls are tested every time in the call room, so that you cannot take a risk taking an illegal ball and hoping that you don't get a check. So my feeling is that overall it got better, and all together as a Boccia community we need to be sharp on all the details and see if it's really doing what we wanted it to do, all those new rules. So I think this is a subject that people should really feel free to provide feedback to World Boccia and the committees, so that things can work in the best way possible.
And even the feedback of athletes should be important here too.
Absolutely, because I think the athletes are those who play with the balls, and well, my perception from this competition is definitely that it didn't affect the level of play that we've seen, because I think that's still up to a very high level. So I think overall there's progress, and we need to make sure that we keep progressing in the right direction altogether.
Okay, Christophe Beoda, Ale de la France, supporting here the France players Sonia Henkel and Jules Menard. At this moment 1-1. After a good first ball, the French opened the situation.
Yeah, we're seeing here a typical start of the end. A good first ball, taken out, another ball to the jack, taken out, another ball to the jack. That will probably now be taken out as well.
And after then, the game will
begin. And
begin.
at some point you get to like that middle game where more decisions need to be made. From what I see, that's very typical for the BC3 game, that in this phase of the game not many mistakes are being made. And especially in the middle phase of the game, that's where the decision making makes a difference, because everybody is able to play the basic shots up to a very high level of consistency.
Yes, and the tactics make the difference here. And
yes,
I'm saying in the beginning that sometimes we assist here in the BC3s plays made in 2 or 3 balls, trying to prepare a situation for the future. So it's a quite different approach difference between the BC3s and the others.
Yeah. I think especially in BC1 and to some extent in BC2, I think the throwing very precisely and consistently is what basically differentiates the top level athletes from the others. And I think more and more in BC4 and definitely in BC3, it's accuracy, it's consistency, but it's also decision making. And here we saw a shot that was not exactly accurate.
But now they have the chance
I
to correct this.
I sometimes find it hard to think, was this on purpose so that they can get two balls in front of the jag or not? But I think since that red one was already helping blue pretty well, if he would have gotten to the jag, I assume that he tried to get there in once.
Yes, it's difficult sometimes to comment here because we are not in the mind of the players.
No.
So the perspective is always different, and the way that they are training during the year, they know how to approach to the different situations. So
yeah, and it was definitely not a bad shot. But this is, I'm pretty sure, not what they were hoping for, because now they're using a third ball to get to an open jag. But what we also see a lot in BC3 is that when you manage to get a lot of balls in front of the jag, it's also not so easy for the opponent to get rid of it. Where in the throwing classes you can throw straight on top of the jag. In BC3 that's not possible because all balls roll by the ground. So if all your balls are useful and in front of the jag, it may also be an advantage and not as in the throwing classes really an issue of using too many balls.
And we saw in the first hand the same situation, the defense of the player Takte prefers to put one ball defending, and only after that they remove another ball.
Yeah.
So now yes, and as you can see, the hard ball coming back.
Yeah, this is really extremely hard ball. And I think they would have wanted it to stay in front of the blue that's now scoring.
As
an extra protection.
But now with only one ball blue there, if the Hong Kong have the opportunity, will smash that situation and trying to do 2 points behind.
Yeah, I think.
Or trying to remove the red ball.
I think Tse here relatively easy shot separating blue and the jag.
But they can have another solution here if Kehu remove the red ball there, and maybe they can try to do the scores with the lines.
I think they're going for Tse to play.
Yeah,
since he built up his whole ramp.
And this is the love of sport. Many decisions here to take.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think Tse has a good angle to push blue to the side of the jag. I'm not sure how far it's exactly going to move, because that depends a lot on the softness of the balls that are already on court. Yeah, so not so much.
He opened a little gap, and now Keho have that little gap trying to enter.
So it's not so easy, because the last two balls are with UKO. Yeah, she has that gap. And this is where you see really the difference between BC3 and throwing, where in a throwing class basically any BC2 would have been easily able to get rid of that blue ball. And in BC3 you can only throw as hard as your ramp is high. So usually there are less brutal movements of the game. And you really need to work your strategy well to get results. So she's created a little bit more space to squeeze that last ball in, but
And
it's
now
not
I
a
have
very easy shot, I
and
think.
now with only one ball left, she had the space, and now we'll see if they trying there using the red to try a ricochet or using the red ball behind to stop the
Yeah, I
ball.
think she should be able to. Yeah, from this perspective, she may need the other red indeed to get it in there.
To support it
and,
there.
and the red next to the jack is definitely helping to stop. But if it's a little bit too hard, you see a lot of times that the ball that you play
Roll out.
bounces back a little bit. So the speed needs to be very accurate to win this point.
Yes, the ball is
And
there, and now we will see the
Is
final.
it or not?
Yes,
It's very close.
seems to be.
Referee indicates one blue, which would be a point for France. And
Yes, both players agree.
yeah, so
And-
here you see you can see the jack, but to make it in once, it's very very difficult.
And to open situations always depend of the type of balls that are there. The ball seems to stay very well in the game. 1 point to France, and everything open to the final end to see who will get the gold medal. We hear now that Portugal scored again 2 points against Canada, but wasn't enough to getting the medal. So the bronze medal in pairs BC3, pairs BC4 goes to Canada. 5 Canada, 4 Portugal. However, this is a great result for Portugal. A new constitution of the pair, Carla and Domingos made well, and they can achieve some good points for the world ranking for sure. And in the final, we have the information now. 1 point to Slovakia, and Slovakia won the gold medal again, and they will stay for sure in the first place in the ranking. 7 for Slovakia, 3 for Thailand. Gold medal to Slovakia, Samuel Andrzejczyk and Mikhaila Balkova. Congratulations today. They get the gold. In pairs BC3, 2 points for Portugal in the third hand at this moment. 3 Portugal, 1 Great Britain. Portugal getting some advantage here to get the bronze medal. In the teams BC1, BC2, another point to Great Britain, and point by point they are scoring here. 3 to Great Britain, 0 to Brazil, and in the other court of teams, Thailand giving no chances to Hong Kong at this moment after 4 ends, 9-0 to Thailand. So we will see now. The ball is about 970 meters. E lá, aí Cátia Lima de novo, boa tarde. Bem-vindo aqui ao jogo da final BC3. E Cânia está terapiando. Brasil aí, força aí a apoiar o Brasil. Neste momento o Brasil a perder 3-0 no jogo de equipas BC1 BC2. Ainda assim, muito dentro do jogo. Vimos ainda há pouco no jogo contra Portugal que num parcial conseguiu 5 pontos e fez uma boa remontada, e por isso não está de todo colocado a hipótese do Brasil dar a volta à situação. Vamos então aqui voltar ao BC3. Coming back here, an important moment here. France winning 2-1. This first ball could be crucial for the rest of the game. One roll more that he won for sure, and now Hong Kong with a chance to get the jack. Seems that no player is The ball is not in the line of any player, so they have the chance to do something.
Yeah, everybody has an open line, so Hong Kong is now discussing who's going to play that shot. And it seems to be Tse. He probably has the most difficult line further in the end, since he's furthest away coming from the outside box. So they probably think that
In the future.
it's a good opportunity for him to play now and leave the balls of Ho for later moments.
The ball seems to be in good line. Yes.
Yeah, nice shot. It's scoring. It's definitely blocking Sonja Heckel. Well, the referee is still measuring, but I think we can see it scoring.
Olá Ezequiel, boa tarde. Infelizmente o par BC4 acabou de perder o jogo da atribuição do terceiro e quarto lugar, perdeu 5-4, fazendo aí uma boa recuperação, já que esteve a perder nos dois primeiros parcial por 5-0, mas o Canadá foi sendo capaz de controlar ali a situação e perdeu apenas 4 pontos nos dois parciais e com tal o Canadá acabar por ganhar a medalha de bronze. O par de Portugal, exatamente, Carla e Domingos, a ficarem no quarto lugar final da competição. Que jogaram contra, ainda agora acabou o jogo contra o Canadá. So the ball of Tse is making the point, and now it's the turn of France. Time to see if the ramp is calibrated. And time to see all work during the year to come here to put the ball in the right place in the ramp. The study of the ramp and the point of the balls in the ramp is very important to do in the training process, to have the sure that the ball goes to the right place, even if the floor is different. We know that can influence a lot, but that work can be very important.
I think for BC3 athletes, like knowing exactly where to put the balls in the ramp to get a certain distance and being able to align it exactly to the millimeter where they want to get is crucial. And then every floor may be a little bit straighter or not so straight, and even every court may be different depending on the texture of the court. So we see a lot of times that in the training sessions prior to the competitions, the BC3 athletes are really working on that to calibrate their ramp and the sheets that they have to keep track of all the distances. So that they know exactly what to do when they're in their match. And even then, it's still difficult. And I think it's a subject of discussion. Like some people say, but if you play chess, you can also not bring your notes to the game. But I think what we see is that that comparison is not really fair. Since the nice thing of bocce is that every situation is different. There are no standardized plays or areas of the
if
field.
If I put the ball here, I will win. And
and like a ball that's 5 centimeters further away can create an entirely different situation. And your score sheet may say something about the meters, but you will still need to make good decisions in the game. So I think it's something that has been really helping the athletes to play a high level game, which we are seeing here.
we are talking when the Portuguese game finished, that the Portuguese achieved good points to the ranking, and we know that the competition changed something during this quadriennial. Can you talk as which are the biggest differences in this new cycle? And we know that the points now are very important to the World Cups, but the World Championships, sorry. But here is that points can be used for another competitions. Can you explain us a little of that changes?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so the world ranking system was changed after 2013, and then after 2016, when more different level of competitions came into the sport. With first the regional opens and the world opens, which are now the challengers and the World Cups. And basically for this cycle, there have not been major changes to the world ranking system, but more tweaks to solve some things that we saw in the last cycle that the system was not really doing exactly what it was supposed to do. So one difference that happens is that the multipliers for the different events has been adapted a little bit. So we had one for the regional opens, which remained one for the challengers. We had two for the world opens, which was only renamed to World Cups, but that went up to 2.5, and the coefficient of 3 for the regional championships also went to 2.5, because we felt that the fields and the level of play in those events are very similar. We see that the World Cups have been very strong, maybe even stronger than some of the regional championships. So it felt right to balance that a little bit more, and it also creates a little bit bigger difference between a challenger and a World Cup, which should encourage people who have the ability and the skill to compete at World Cups to actually go there, so that we really create high-level events there. And then there were some tweaks in the points that you get in an event. So we multiplied the participation point with the coefficient. Previously it would just be one participation point, so that is more attractive to go to higher level competitions. And there was an extra point for passing the group phase, because especially in team and pairs we saw that a lot of times fourth place was not giving really the ranking points that it deserves, even though you need to bring quite a performance to get to fourth place, but you don't gain any points after the pool stage anymore if you lose the semi-final and the bronze medal match. So that's why that was changed. So no major stuff, but hopefully things that make sure that the rankings reflect more or even more the relative strengths of the different sides.
And the qualifying to Paralympics will have now a specific tournament for those who are not qualified at
Yes.
that moment.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool feature. Because what previously we had direct qualifiers by the regional championships, and then it was basically by ranking. And what we saw, especially around the qualification spots, that there was not a lot of difference in the ranking points between 9, 10, 11 and 12 when we had 10 countries qualifying. So that it didn't feel really correct to make a so big decision participating or not in the games based on that ranking. So in the new system we still have direct slots for the regional championships. Then there are some ranking slots for the countries, the highest ranked countries that didn't qualify. But then for those last slots, rather than taking the ranking, we take, so let's say if 7 or 8 countries already qualified directly, or 9 is the accurate number. Then we're going to take the next 8 countries on the world ranking list that didn't qualify already, and they qualify for the qualification tournament. And in that tournament, the first 3 spots win a team or a pair slot. So it means that more countries.
Sorry, Joop, because here is the moment of the decision. Long play from France.
Hong Kong has it.
Yeah. Hong Kong put 2 balls, and in the 5th ball, they can put 2 balls near the jack, and France cannot change the situation. Gold here for Hong Kong. Great play here.
Yeah, I think they played it great. They didn't have a very easy situation to get directly to the jack, so they placed a few balls there in front and then pushed it through to score directly the 2 points rather than getting 1 and give France the opportunity to defend. So I think great play, well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved for sure. And here is a little revenge. Kehoe winning now. Sonia Eckel they defeat in the final with a victory of Sonia, and now Kehoe winning in the pairs BC3, but showing that they are really in good shape. Joop, but sorry, before we are talking a little about the qualification, I think it's important to...
Yeah, no, of course. The game is the most important. Yes, I think it's basically that. So I think there are more countries who will stay for a longer time in the run to qualify. So even if you're ranked at some point 13, 14, you will still have an opportunity to qualify by ranking for that qualification tournament. And in that qualification tournament, it's very simply the first 3 getting that Paralympic slot. So hopefully we can keep everybody who's still in chance to get to the Paralympic Games to fight for those slots and have an opportunity to qualify. And I think that it's a good system overall, and especially in this quadrennial where we have shorter time, where the newer or emerging sides didn't have that many opportunities in 2020 and 21 to compete. That we keep the structure slightly more open to those who deliver the best performance in the beginning of 2024 to be in Paris, and to me that seems fair and right. So I hope that we're gonna see great competition throughout the events this year and next year, and that qualification tournament is really going to be a great experience and a decider for those slots.
Okay, Joop, thanks a lot. And this always a very good information for those who are watching us. Now the finish of the game. 3-2 for Hong Kong, gold medal at this level. Joop, some thoughts now, only to finish there. And after that we will maintain the transmission of Brazil, Great Britain.
Well, I think on the competition system, we've spoken through the major changes and difference. Well, one major difference actually is that we have a new region this quadrennial, which is Africa, where in the past Africa would play with Americas, which caused quite some issues in travel and expenses and everything. So we didn't see many African nations participate in competitions. Recently, Africa held their first regional championships, and though it was still smaller than we see in the other regions, I think it's good that there has been a start in to keep developing Africa in Boccia, and they got some slots for the World Championships. So we're going to see some African nations as well in Rio. So I think that's a great thing, and we need to see how fast things are developing there, and how it's going to fit into the Paralympic qualification structure. But I think it's a good development for World Boccia to have a fourth region with Africa.
Yes, and it's always good to when a federation think in the development of sport. We have also the competitions of under 21 too, and the inclusion of the female division. So we think that World was thinking really in the development of the sport, and that show how they are involved in that.
Yeah, for sure. And, I'm also really excited for the first World Boccia Youth Championships that will be next year, very close from here.
Yeah,
So,
Portugal will receive next year in Vila do Conde the under 21 championships, and could be there an opportunity to see the level of the players. We had last week the European Championship under 21. Portugal had made a great result there with a lot of gold medals and great play from the Portuguese. But next year in the World Cup, we will see which will be the general level of that players. So for here is everything. The game is finished with the gold medal of Hong Kong, and we will stay live with Great Britain against Brazil. At this moment, 3-1 to Great Britain. We will maintain probably here the comments. Joop, what do you think of the result at this moment? Very tight game.
yeah, for sure. And we're in the fifth end, so that's always a point where the score becomes very relevant. Great Britain leading 3-1, so winning this end would be huge for them, because they would go to, if they can make a point to a 3 gap margin with one end to play, that's pretty comfortable. They have 2 balls left, and David Smith says yes, he made it, very good shot. So they got close to the jack with 1 ball left for Brazil to play, and also 1 for Great Britain. So these are really crucial balls. If Brazil manage to secure the end, they're back in the game. It's 3-2 and everything to play for. If it goes to GB, then Brazil is really up for a challenge.
And we see during the match 1-1-1 and
Yeah.
1.
All ends 1 point so
so
far, so it's definitely a close game. And then, a lot of times those last balls of the end decide who's actually winning the end. And the athletes who can deliver under that pressure are the ones winning the medals. So let's see here with Brazil, it's De Silva to play their last ball.
And in the other bronze medal game, Portugal and Great Britain are tied. Now they are playing the tie-break. We are watching.
Oh, wonderful shot.
Yuri Da Silva, what
That's
a
really
shot.
a brilliant ball.
What a shot here.
He had a lot of options. He could push the red, he could take out the blue, but he found a way to squeeze his ball exactly in between though.
What a great ball here that you watch.
And this will be really tough for GB. They have 1 ball with Claire Taggart, but her line is far from ideal. She will need to push the blue cross court. They were pointing to that. That's a very tough shot. And even if it's played with the right speed and accuracy, I doubt if it's going to be a scoring ball. But theoretically, it's possible. So she should go
try.
for it. Yeah,
They should try.
if she does it with some caution, there's not really something to lose. Brazil doesn't have any balls left, and the only way to get more than 1 point for Brazil is to really push out that blue one. So
Only if the ball goes to the right. She will try to don't take that ball to the right there, but
Yeah.
I think that I will see.
it's a very difficult shot for sure. She actually hits it, and that may be scoring. And if that is A brilliant shot.
Impressive.
Brilliant ball.
Impressive. Claire Targat is on fire this week.
Fantastic play. Yeah, absolutely.
What a ball.
You need a little bit of luck with this, but she executed it perfectly, and it is exactly what they meant. So, and this.
And when it's possible, they have to try it.
Yeah, and this is what bocce is. If that ball comes a few centimeters short, we have a very close last end, and now it's 4-1 for GB, who can also start the last end. So they're in a very comfortable position, deciding where the last end is going to be played, having the first ball. Yeah, so there's a marvelous shot under this pressure in a World Cup final.
Fantastic, Claire, showing here great level of play, great development of this girl. Well done here for her. And Yup, when you have a PC1 like David Smith, everything turns different when in the team, isn't it? It's very important the level of BC1 to
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you see that in almost all the teams that the BC1 is mainly playing the open shots to the jack, and the BC2s, who generally have more strength and speed, are making the difficult shots, moving the balls and everything. But I usually see the BC1 sitting in the middle then. I think Great Britain is one of the few teams where the BC1 is actually playing more like a BC2. And I think with Claire and David, they have two great players on the outside that can do everything. They have good placement shots. They can move balls at a very high speed. And then they have Will, which is also a BC2 player with a lot of functionality. He gets to the jack. He has a strong arm for a push. He can get through the air to the jack, and he's probably a little bit less accurate than the other two. But overall, you could say that they're almost playing with three BC2s.
And it seems that Will, when with the help of the teammates, can help him really, because we saw, I think, a better level of him in the teams compared when he plays alone.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they've taken a lot of time and effort to build this team, because they could build on the experience of David. Claire has been catching up pretty fast, and really raised their level of play, and Will, I think, with their support and instruction, is a very useful third player. So I think it's a very strong and complete team that we're gonna see in more high level finals for sure.
We saw GB taking another BC2 to the other competition, Rajab. I'm not totally sure about the name of him, but Hill seems to be at this moment a better choice for the team. It's always difficult to say something about.
I've seen the other guy playing also in like more a national friendly competition in Scotland, and I was quite impressed with his level of play and the shots that he can make. Oh, nice shot from Brazil. So I think they definitely have options, but yeah, you don't have a lot of competitions throughout the year. So I think you also want to give some confidence and trust to the players that you have playing. From what I understood, Will couldn't attend the last event, so that's why they made that change. And unfortunately, they couldn't play as a team, so we didn't see him in that configuration playing already. But yeah, I think they have options, and that's nice to have as a team. I think the execution was not bad, but the outcome is not really what they were hoping for.
And we saw in the reaction of the players,
Yeah.
in 2 times reaction.
And this is not the easiest situation
to
because the player
manage.
is out of balls, and Will and David seem to be blocked. And it's also not a situation that's very easy to defend since there are already 2 red balls in front of the jack. So I would expect that either Will or David, and probably David, is going to try to
Smash that.
smash this situation and just create something different that they can work with. We see often that teams are a bit afraid in the last end when they are ahead to keep attacking.
But here seems to be the best solution.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And I think David is not one of those players that is afraid to attack situations. So I think we're gonna see a good smash here, but it's a very important one because if you don't hit this one, you may be afraid to try again. Yeah, that's a good shot. Great ball.
Even with that, the Brazilians seems to have the.
Yeah, it's still not easy, but they have a bit more space to get closer to the jack, and that's also what the last end is about. If you're 3 points ahead, as long as you can take over the situation and let the other team play, they lose their balls, and the less balls they have left, the harder it is to score points. So I guess they're just gonna let Will play to the side of the jack, try to get it in between the blue and the white.
Oh, at this moment, Portugal won the bronze medal in pairs BC3. They don't need to play more balls. Point for Portugal. Great game, only deciding the tiebreak. Well played here, Ana Costa and José Gonçalves in the first time that they play together in the national team, with a brilliant game, a brilliant result here, achieving the bronze medal for Portugal.
Yeah, very nice for Portugal. They're really here with a new pair and had to adapt to the new rules since they usually played with two male athletes in the BC3 pair. So nice for them to see that they
Yes, and
they
even
have something to work with.
in the past competitions they play with Ana and Avelino, and now change here of the.
Fantastic shot from Will.
Will now making the difference.
Yes, that's great under this pressure. You saw that he really took his time, but he made it. And like in a regular end, this would not be even a so difficult situation for Brazil. You'd say
But they have to score.
They're pretty comfortable, but since they need to make 3 points, every ball counts, and they're probably gonna need to use a ball here to get rid of those blue one. For Marcel Santos, it's not a difficult shot.
They can have another. I don't know, but the red ball that is behind. But the ball don't seems to have space to go there.
No, probably.
No, don't pass the ball.
Just the PC1 in the middle could make that push, but
Andres
it's very difficult to push this ball with overarm throw. But the other problem for them is they're gonna push the blue, they will also move the white, which most likely is gonna open it again for David Smith.
And they still have 2 balls after that ball. And it's the same situation for both teams.
But as long as that blue one is there, they're not going to score 3 points. So they'll have to do something about it. And in general, in this level of play, you see that you will only score 3 points if your opponent misses a few balls. We've seen all the ends so far were 1 point for either one of the teams. But now they seem to reconsider. And maybe go for that push after all. Probably what Santos is thinking is that if in the end they need to score those points, his balls are going to be very important to create the space and make those shots. so that they will need to take a little bit of risk now in using the more difficult balls to solve the situation as it is.
A lot of tension here.
Yeah, that's.
You can see Claire here.
I don't really like this option. It's like you're trying to avoid a future problem, but basically you're creating the problem
Right now.
in this moment. And the more balls that you waste here, the less
balls
pressure
losing,
the
yeah.
opponent will feel. If they would have solved it here directly, like you put a lot of pressure on those last 2 balls of GB, and now they play very fast. It seems that they lost a little bit of confidence that they're gonna make this happen. Yeah, so I think this was not the best decision they've made so far.
And now with only 1 ball left, almost impossible here to Brazil to make 3 points.
That's a really, really good shot.
Yeah, but at this time it's nothing enough to.
No.
They have to take a risk before, and now only they want to put 1 point in the score, and with that, GB probably will not play that ball. And Claire is saying that they don't want to play, but David Smith is always a competitive guy. He always wants to score points, and he say why not? But we will see what the option will say.
Will says it's fine.
It's okay.
We'll stay with our victory.
Yes, it's a great result here for Great Britain. It's always good to be this team of GB coming back and winning again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very nice. And I think it's a really well-deserved victory. They fought back very well in the semi-finals, being 5-0 down to Hong Kong. Won it in a tie-break. So I think this is a great reward of their efforts and a well-deserved victory.
Yeah, well done here from GB. And it's the end of this World Boccia Cup Povo de Varzim. It was a great week here in Povo, Portugal. We have the privilege to see in the first line the best players in the world. The competition is now finished, and we know all of the first places and the gold medalists. Soon we will have the medal ceremony of pairs and teams. Joop, what are your thoughts about this great competition?
Yeah, I think it's been great to see a lot of the best teams, pairs and individuals in the world competing together again. It has been a challenging time. But I think Boccia is back to delivering this kind of competitions. Level of play has been great, and hopefully we get more of this. We're gonna now get a few rounds of challenger competitions throughout the summer, then another World Cup in Bahrain, and then I think everybody's building up to the World Championships in Rio in December. So I think it's gonna be a great year for Boccia.
We hope so. So we hope to the next opportunity to be back here. It's a pleasure to spend these days with you, and see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.